The story begins with a wealthy man. He wants to see his children suffer because his wife had betrayed him many times. He is an extremely rich company chairman, and he decides to marry one of his own bodyguards, a very young woman. His plan is simple. If his children betray him, they will not inherit even a single dollar from his fortune. Everything started a long time ago. We see a young woman named Yaran. Her aunt had arranged an interview for her at a company called Guan Corporation, hoping she could get a job as the personal bodyguard of the company's chairman, a powerful man named Sun Hua. Yaran comes from a poor family. On top of that, she is buried in debt. This job seems like her best and only chance to repay everything she owes, especially since she has heard that the chairman pays extremely generous salaries. The company's lawyer begins questioning her background. He explains that the chairman is looking for a highly intelligent bodyguard, someone under the age of 28. The lawyer, whose name is Lee, decides to test her reflexes. Without warning, he suddenly throws an object toward her. Instantly, Yaran reacts with precision and control, handling the situation calmly and skillfully. Unknown to her, the chairman is watching everything from his private room through hidden surveillance. He is deeply impressed. Immediately, he orders lawyer Lee to hire her on the spot. Yaran feels overwhelming happiness when she hears the news. However, she is told that she must work 24 hours a day. She will have no days off, not even once a week. But suddenly, lawyer Lee receives a phone call from a police officer. He is informed that Yaran has a criminal record. Because of this, her hiring is immediately canceled. Devastated, she walks outside. Her shoes accidentally hit something, and in a moment of anger and frustration, she starts kicking the wall repeatedly. She is furious and heartbroken. The chairman watches all of this through his cameras. Lawyer Lee reviews her file more carefully. He discovers that when Yaran was in ninth grade, she had stolen a beautiful bracelet. Because she was still a minor, she was sentenced to 6 months in juvenile detention. Aside from that one small mistake, she has never committed any other crimes. After learning this, the chairman changes his mind. He orders lawyer Lee to hire her anyway. Later, when Yaran comes in again, the chairman personally observes her appearance. Her clothes look cheap, and her shoes are worn out. Lawyer Lee asks her directly, "Why did you hit your shoe against the wall earlier after leaving the interview?" Yaran lowers her head and apologizes. She admits she lost control because of anger and frustration. At that moment, the chairman makes his decision final. He hires her. When she hears this, Yaran can barely contain her joy. The next day, Yaran arrives with her bag and belongings. A young boy named Don opens the door for her. Shortly after, the house manager escorts her inside and shows her where she will live. She is told that the entire building shares only one kitchen. If she ever needs food, she must go there herself. She is then taken to her room, which she will share with another young woman her age. After settling in, Yaran begins unpacking her belongings. Soon, lawyer Lee arrives and explains her job responsibilities. He describes her daily routine, her duties, and her strict schedule. Her work officially ends at 9 p.m., and only then can she return to her room. He also informs her that she will receive an extremely high salary. When she returns to her room later, she notices something disturbing. Her bag has been opened. The girl she shares the room with begins commenting on her clothes and appearance. She then invites Yaran to go out together to watch a movie and have coffee. But Yaran refuses politely. She says she cannot afford to waste money on entertainment. That evening, the chairman is served dinner. He takes one bite and immediately loses his appetite. He stands up and walks away from the table. Then the head housekeeper orders Yaran to eat the remaining food. Yaran eats it, but she also finds it unpleasant. She begins throwing it away. Instead, she decides to cook something for herself. She chooses to make pasta. While searching the kitchen, she notices something strange in a mirrored cabinet. She realizes the mirror is actually a two-way mirror. Someone can watch from the other side. Quietly, she leaves her room and walks into the kitchen. She begins looking around carefully and discovers hidden cameras everywhere. Cameras are secretly installed in every corner of the house. The chairman himself installed them. He watches her through the mirror and smiles with amusement, impressed by her awareness. The next day, the chairman notices a large scar on Yaran's hand. At the same time, he attends a product presentation for a new pasta brand. The presentation is led by his incompetent son from his former wife. His former wife is already dead. His son explains his marketing plan, saying the pasta is designed specifically for young people. However, the chairman interrupts him and says the marketing is not the real problem. The taste itself is the problem. The manager present doesn't realize that the chairman is deeply displeased. Meanwhile, the house supervisor receives a phone call from the chairman's daughters from his previous marriage. They ask about the new bodyguard living in the house. The supervisor explains that the chairman is keeping a close eye on her. She also mentions that Yaron comes from a poor background. The supervisor is also the one who cooks for the chairman. She secretly knows that his cholesterol level is extremely high. She has been adding harmful substances to his food slowly, hoping to kill him gradually. Her goal is to ensure that his family inherits everything after his death. Later, the chairman visits his late wife's grave. It is the anniversary of her death. His daughters arrive as well, carrying flowers. They throw away the flowers he brought and replace them with their own. One of the daughters says coldly, "You were married to our mother for 1 year, and you don't even know what kind of flowers she liked." These daughters are the ones who are supposed to inherit his massive fortune. It is revealed that their mother died in an accident only 1 year after marrying him. There was also another daughter, born outside of marriage. She was sent to study in the United States, but she became addicted to drugs and eventually died there. The chairman's driver quietly advises Yaron not to ask too many questions about these matters. He also warns her that the chairman will die soon. The chairman later calls Yaron to speak with her privately for a confidential conversation. He asks her about the number saved in her phone contacts, but she hesitates and does not fully explain. Then he reveals something shocking. He tells her that he installed all the cameras inside the house himself. He looks directly at her and says, "Everyone in this house is planning to kill me." At the same time, the housekeeper begins preparing lunch in the kitchen. While cooking, she secretly adds poison to the food. But before the food can reach the chairman, lawyer Lee arrives and stops it. He announces that the chairman does not want to eat anything right now. The next day, lawyer Lee begins giving bonuses to all the household staff. He also grants them leave and sends them away one by one. Soon, Yaron becomes the only one left in the house. That evening, feeling hungry, she walks into the kitchen to find something to eat. There, she sees something unexpected. The chairman himself is cooking. He prepares a simple pasta dish, and the two of them sit together and eat. As they eat, the chairman begins telling her about his past. "When I was poor," he says quietly, "I was in love with a woman, but we separated. She gave birth to my daughter." He pauses, filled with regret. "My daughter spent 19 years in an orphanage. I have always regretted abandoning her." Meanwhile, one of the chairman's daughters, named Sin, grows increasingly suspicious of Yaron. She starts questioning the house staff about the new bodyguard. She notices that Yaron is always close to the chairman. Her suspicion grows stronger. She begins searching the rooms, but finds nothing. The next day, the chairman shows them a photograph of his daughter. He says, "My daughter never used drugs. She never hurt anyone. She came here because she wanted to study art. I sent her to New York so she could have a better future." Then he shows them another photograph of his other daughter, the one from his former wife. His voice becomes heavy. He reveals that when his daughter was killed, the other daughter was present at the scene. He believes she may have been involved in the murder, possibly for money. He explains that both daughters consider him their inheritance because he married their mother. They are now waiting to inherit control of his entire company. Then he reveals something even more terrifying. He has terminal cancer. He only has 6 months left to live. Before he dies, he plans to take revenge on them. He refuses to let them inherit his fortune. He opens a large box. Inside, there is an enormous amount of gold and cash. Yaron stands frozen, unable to believe what she is seeing. Then the chairman looks directly at her and says something that changes her life forever. "All of this will belong to you." He takes out a ring. It is his wedding ring. He explains his plan clearly. He wants to marry her. If she agrees, she will become the owner of the company and inherit everything. But there is one condition. She must help him take revenge on his children. He continues, "My daughter's murder case has remained unsolved for 15 years. I have no proof, and my own children have even plotted to kill me. I barely survived." Yaron is terrified. She is overwhelmed by fear. She refuses the offer. The next day, she packs her belongings. She decides to leave, but just then, she receives a phone call from her mother. Her mother desperately asks her for money. Yaron feels trapped. She has no choice. Slowly, she changes her mind. She goes back to the chairman. She accepts his proposal. She accepts the ring. She agrees to the deal. The following day, lawyer Lee prepares the legal documents. The agreement clearly states that the chairman only has 3 months left to live. Everything is recorded on video for legal proof. If the plan succeeds, Yaron will legally inherit everything after his death. With no other options, she fully commits herself to the plan. The operation begins. One of the staff secretly adds pills to the driver's coffee. Soon, the driver begins suffering from severe stomach pain and becomes unable to work. Yaron takes his place as the chairman's driver. Meanwhile, their marriage certificate is prepared. Because there are no legal restrictions preventing their marriage, the ceremony proceeds. They get married. Wedding photos are taken. Everything is now official. After returning home, the chairman gives Yaron further instructions. He tells her she must leave and hide in a remote rural village for 3 months after his death. It will be the safest place, far from his children. He warns her that his daughters may try to kill her once they discover the truth. He also provides her with a completely new identity. While they are discussing this, one of the staff secretly tries to listen from outside the door. Yaron suddenly opens the door, catching her off guard. The chairman pays the staff member money and orders her to leave immediately. The next day, the chairman meets the young boy and gently asks him whether the fruit tastes sweet. He explains, "The sweetness depends on the weather. If the weather is good, the fruit becomes sweet." Then he looks at Yaron and says, "That is why I depend on you." Suddenly, Yaron receives an urgent call. The chairman is in danger. She runs to his room. She finds him lying on the floor in severe pain. He is rushed to the hospital immediately. His condition worsens. The doctor confirms the truth. He is in the final stage of cancer. He only has 3 months left. His children pretend to be sad, but inside they are secretly happy. They believe they will soon inherit everything. The next day, the chairman makes a decision. He asks to be discharged from the hospital and taken back home. He has one final plan he wants to carry out before his death. The pain he is suffering has become unbearable. Quietly, he asks the doctor to increase his medication, to give him enough so that he can end his life peacefully when the time comes. Yaron is the one who receives the medicine, but deep inside, she does not want him to die. Later, the chairman calls her and gently asks her to go to the kitchen and cook the delicious pasta he likes so much. After she leaves the room, he picks up his phone and begins recording a video message. He looks at a photograph of his daughter while recording. Then, slowly, he picks up a gun. Without hesitation, he pulls the trigger. The sound echoes through the house. Yaron hears it. Terrified, she runs toward his room. She finds him lying there, dead. She freezes in shock. The next day, the news spreads everywhere. The chairman is dead. His children are secretly filled with joy. Lawyer Lee contacts them and tells them to attend the funeral. However, when they ask about the company's inheritance, Lawyer Lee calmly reveals something unexpected. Everything has changed. At the funeral the next day, they arrive expecting to take control. But then they see her, Yaron, standing there, wearing the chairman's wedding ring. They are completely shocked. They realize the truth. She is his legal wife. She is now the rightful heir to everything. The son tries to attack her in anger, but Lawyer Lee stops him immediately. The meeting ends in silence and rage. Soon after, everyone is called into a private room. Lawyer Lee explains the will. All of the chairman's assets now belong to Yaron. His children refuse to accept it. They are furious. They begin planning something dangerous. One of the daughters contacts the house staff and offers them money in exchange for information about Yaron's location. The staff and the former driver begin working together, but Yaron overhears their conversation from another room. She learns everything. The staff prepares coffee and secretly adds sleeping pills to it. They bring the coffee to Yaron, but Yaron already knows their plan. Instead of drinking it, she throws the coffee in their faces. A violent struggle begins. She fights them both. They try to capture her, but she escapes. She runs outside and manages to flee. Soon, armed forces begin searching for her everywhere. Lawyer Lee contacts her and tells her to go to the airport. She tries, but the airport is filled with security and danger. It is too risky. Instead, she escapes on a bus. Lawyer Lee provides her with a new identity and arranges a safe place for her to live. She must remain hidden for 3 months until everything becomes legally final. After a long and exhausting journey, Yaron finally arrives at the remote rural village the chairman had prepared for her, the same village he had chosen as her safe haven. She steps off the bus. She is now alone, but she is no longer poor. She is no longer powerless. She is now the sole heir to a massive fortune. She survived betrayal, she survived death, and she completed the chairman's final plan.